the show. I'm Tim.
And I'm Ray. Welcome to the grayscale where it's not always black and white.
It's not always black and white.
You dig.
You dig? In my best Ray Keller impersonation.
You dig? That's like my thing. I said on records. It's that old school, you know what I'm saying? Man, here we are. Timmy, hey! Timmy
Season
Turner.
2.
Season 2, baby.
Timmy Turner.
Hey, we done did.
Making sure we got sound for everybody here.
Can you believe that we have been doing this for 3 months?
We've technically been doing this. If you really break it down, I'm going to move over just a smidge because I'm not centered in my camera and it's bothering me. I don't want to move the camera for whatever reason. Technically, this is week 19.
19, yes.
Because we took the week off that you went to Disney.
Yep.
And we took last week off.
Yes.
To break in between seasons. So we did a full football season's worth of shows.
This is
we did a 16 game season with a bye week, and then we took a 1 week off season. And now we're back for season 2.
We're back for season 2, baby.
We don't take long off seasons like the NFL. We're going straight back to it.
This is dedication.
Season 2, episode 1
of the Grayscale Podcast.
That's right.
Man, I figure we with this being season 2, we need to talk a little bit about our first season.
Yeah.
Before we get into all that, man, as always, how was your week, brother?
Man, it was good. Yeah. I worked a lot. I went to the gym.
Oh, I saw that. I seen your post about
I went a couple times this week. So yeah, I actually bought groceries kind of instead of going out to eat all the time. I do have some Goya black beans. I went and stocked up because speaking of season 1, Goya.
Oh,
we're not getting paid by Goya, by the way, to say that over and over again. Yeah, man. I got a sign put up on the shop finally yesterday. Yep. So it was actually kind of funny because the municipalities, as it were, like local governments and stuff, are real picky about signage.
Oh, are they now?
Yeah. And so
everybody in their code enforcement.
Everybody in their code enforcements. That's right. So it just so happened that the people that were in this space before me left the sign that they had up on the building when they moved.
Yeah.
So the people that owned the building took it down and they still had it. So they just gave me that sign. So I went and got a sticker of my business logo and stuff and just put it right over the top of theirs and put it back up.
Yeah.
So if they say anything to me, I'll just be like, this is the sign. Right. This is literally the exact same sign that was here before.
These code enforcement people probably a little older. They memory slip anyway.
Yeah,
they won't know the difference.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny. I was like, nope, if they come by, I'm going to be like, this is the exact same sign that was there before. You do not have any reason to talk to me about sign size. Because the problem that the people had before was it had to be like, it couldn't be bigger than a certain size, and it couldn't so they had to
they wanted nothing ginormous.
Yeah, so they had to play with it and get it all figured out. But they did. And since they did, I don't have to, right?
Nice. That's exactly right. Save you some time and troubles.
Yeah, I'm going to see if my battery was dying earlier, but it's good now. So now I can see the people if we have any chatters.
Yeah.
What about yourself, man?
Shout out to Stevie, always tuning in.
Stevie's always here. What about yourself, man? How was your week?
Week was good, man. Hung out with the friends on Saturday. Actually, I went and picked up some golf clubs last Saturday.
Oh, I saw you swinging some golf clubs in your kitchen.
Taking a few practice swings.
Yeah, raising there, knocking light bulbs out in the kitchen.
Get hurt. But man, I'm telling you, those swings take a toll on your back. I'm gonna have to start doing the proper back stretching before I get out there and throw a disc or something, man. But no, I found a set on Craigslist, $50.
Oh, there you go.
Can you believe that? Look, man, it came with a golf bag. It's got all the clubs in there, 1 and 3 driver, everything except a sand wedge, And
I mean, you're good enough. You're
two-
never going to need a
I'm
sandwich
never gonna
anyway.
need a
Yeah,
sandwich.
come on.
I mean, who
Sand.
goes in a sand trap?
Professional, bro.
So yeah, bunch of golf balls, tees, like tools to clean out your cleats. Even though I don't have golf shoes
have those.
yet,
Yeah, me
I gotta go shopping. But yeah, $50, man. I was surprised. So I had to go meet the guy out in Alford at the Alford Dollar General. So it was about pretty much an hour drive.
Yeah, it's like almost to Mariana. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I was going to see my sister again in Tallahassee.
That's right.
But it was about an hour drive, and took the fam and drove out there to meet the guy. It looked like he had his grandma in the front seat.
Yeah. He didn't look sketch or anything, huh?
No, he was standing there. I'm sure he was probably thinking the same thing. Like, man, because I'm like 50. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like $50 for golf clubs. Like, I'm not. We were emailing back and forth, so I'm asking the questions. How tall are they? I'm 5'8". I'm a short guy.
Sure.
6'2" clubs.
Right.
And kind of going back and forth.
I need the kitty set.
Yeah, asking how the grips are and things like that. So he said they were pretty good. And the pictures look good on Craigslist. Yeah. So anyway, went and met him and tested him out a little bit in the parking lot. And he was just like, man, this set was given to me. I don't play golf, know anything about golf, so maybe his granddad's club or something, who knows.
Hand-me-downs or something.
So I get there, he's like, what's this right here? I'm like, the pitching wedge. It says PW.
Right.
He's like, well, what's this one? I'm like, the putter. So anyway.
You never played mini golf?
Yeah, I'm like, mini golf. Come on, dog. So I get the, testing them in the parking lot, testing the height of them. Like, they good. So I'm like, $50? He's like, yeah, $50, because now I'm shocked. Like, damn, these clubs pretty good, and this bag is pretty decent. Like, so it was a sweet deal for me, man.
Sure.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah, my neighbor,
I'm gonna have to give me some clubs now.
Yeah, get some clubs, man. My neighbor took me out a couple weeks ago down there at Signal Hill. We went and shot a few rounds, 9 holes. And, I kind of got a little bit back in the swing of things. I'm still no good off the tee. I'm working on it. So now I come home.
Is that your problem?
That's my problem. My short game is good, though.
Yeah.
I'm a shorty, so my short game.
My shorties.
Shorty game. But off the tee and on the green, it's a problem. But, yeah, man. So now I'm coming home after work, and I'll just go go out to the yard and, like, take good 10 good swings.
Yeah.
It's like shooting free throws, you know what I'm saying? Like, just practicing on keeping the shoulders back, head down, looking at the ball, that's simple stuff. So, but when you get out there on the green, it's a whole different ball game, especially when you got people in front of you, behind you.
Get a couple beers in you.
Get a couple beers in you. Get off the green.
Get out of the way.
Can we just pass?
Can we play through?
Like,
Can we play through?
Man, why don't y'all go play at the professional?
Where do you play in town?
So I've just been to Ripley's, believe it or not.
Okay.
So yeah, right off that corner right there where like Middle Beach.
Right. That weird corner.
That weird corner right there. So that's the only one that I've played, and I hadn't played in like 8 years. When I went in, last time I played, I went and played with my boy Aaron Timmons from the Feniac. We went to the golf course down here in the Feniac, which I think is no longer in existence after the hurricane. I don't know if they got.
I don't remember what they did with it. I think actually the city was supposed to be, or the county or something was supposed to be buying the country club.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I heard it got like flooded out. The grass was ruined. Things like that. I don't know. But that was the last time I played, and it was funny because I was telling people about Aaron, and I was like, man, he just didn't look like a golfer. Kind of that Happy Gilmore thing, but
yeah.
He'll get out there and off the tee. I'm like, dang. You know what I'm saying? And just chipping. And, he's, I think he played in a few amateur tournaments. So he was pretty damn good to me anyway. I mean, right. Drive the ball 300, yards off the tee. I'm like, damn. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don't even look like you're trying. And I'm over here.
Well, that's kind of the thing about golf is like the club does the work.
Yeah.
You don't have to be super powerful to play golf.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look
easy,
like you're not.
fluid.
Yeah, it's supposed to look a little more fluid. Yeah. But anyway,
I get on that.
Stevie commented about the new background graphics. We got season 2 background graphics up. I changed them up today. I actually changed those up, and I did new cover photos for Anchor and YouTube and all that stuff too. So
that's fine.
That'll be cool.
Man, we got to get a whole new. We got to get our photo shoot in.
We do need to do.
We keep talking about that. So if you're a photographer out there,
talk to us.
Actually, I did talk to my neighbor. She said she'll hook us up.
Yeah, you mentioned
we just need to find a location.
We just need to not be is basically.
And her schedules, you know.
But now that we're not doing the show on Saturday, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, Saturday and Sunday are like really the only day that makes sense.
Yeah,
so.
it really is.
Anyway.
So Saturday, Sunday, a photographer out there. If we can't get up with the neighbor, we looking for you. I guess we'll pay you.
I don't know. I can't make that call. I can't make those kinds of decisions because we don't have any money.
Yeah, it's all.
Listeners, viewers, and listeners, you can actually help us get money by listening to the podcast.
That's it. That's all.
Not watching the live show, which we love it when you do that.
And leave comments.
You can leave comments and like and share and tell all your friends. And hey, Mom, my mom's on. Oh, sorry. Hey, here's the camera. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Tim's mom.
Hey, Tim's mom. But yeah, if you go listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, all those places, we actually get paid money, which we can then use to pay you to take pictures of us. Or to, we mentioned finding somebody to help us with like clipping for that kind of thing. So listening to the podcast, watching the YouTube videos, will help us grow the show. Yeah. So we would really appreciate it if you do that kind of thing. Easy. Tell all your friends.
Easy does it.
The name of one of my favorite albums. Actually, it's probably my favorite album of all time. It's called Tell All Your Friends.
What album is that?
It's from a band called Taking Back Sunday.
Okay.
And it's called Tell All Your Friends.
The good news? Something like that.
I mean, whatever they're trying to tell them. I don't know exactly what the news was.
Word of mouth is powerful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But yeah. So shout out Taking Back Sunday, I guess. I don't know.
On the real.
Yeah. So it's episode 1 of season 2.
Yes, sir.
So let's chat a little bit about how we got here, man.
It's a long season, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, 16 episodes is a lot. I actually got the idea
for us newbies.
Yeah, I actually got the idea to switch it up and like do a season 2 because one of the podcasts I listened to that some other friends of mine did like 8 episodes and then they went to their second season. Yeah, and I was like, man, we're like double that.
Yeah.
Not that there's like a pattern or like a rule or anything, but I was just like...
Because Supernatural has like 21 shows and then...
Yeah, well, that's TV. That's television. But when you take into account that, at least for part of the first season when I was actually able to do so, we were doing a video every day on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
We were... we have like 90-something videos on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a lot of content up there.
Yeah. Which, if you think about that from the first season, it's like a 90-episode season. Yeah. No, you know what I mean? So,
plenty of content.
If you think about the YouTube channel and the podcast, there's way more content on the podcast than just what you get on the live.
Right.
Because we do
Revelations.
We do Revelations and 10 Minutes with Tim. And so, there's a lot of content out there in addition to this. So it was kind of time to switch it up, I think, and start a second season.
No, definitely. So. I mean, it was a good idea, a good breaking point. We were able to, give us some time to regroup.
Yeah.
And to rehash.
Hey, Wayne.
And think. Oh, Wayne's here.
Wayne just got back from the Horsepower Pavilion.
Say what?
Horsepower.
You riding ponies out there, Wayne?
Drinking beers.
Our second beer, successful. Everybody liked it.
Oh, cool. Wayne's a beer brewer now.
Say not what?
Yeah.
Hefeweizen
they did today.
Hefeweizen?
They've brewed 2 different beers now out at the Horsepower
So
Pavilion.
when I go to the bar, I can say, let me get one of them heifers?
Yeah.
Heffa. Hefeweizen's a real type of beer, yeah. So
You call her Stephanie.
Chance of when they're going to bring you.
yeah.
You call her Stephanie. I call her Heffany.
Oh goodness.
Facts.
That was my roommate, everybody, Wayne, talking about beer. So yeah, man.
So a little recap, man.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, of our season. We had some interesting moments in season one. Some good guests, some interesting guests.
We did.
You know,
can we even really call the really interesting guest? Like, can we even use that show as a show? Because like,
it was so it was really
kind of
choppy.
got really distorted.
Low over the place. You know what I'm saying? We were trying to stay on top, but I thought it was still interesting. The bits and pieces we were able to capture during that show. So I thought for me that was.
No, you're good. Keep
It
going.
was one of my actually like I like the show because it had more controversy.
It did
for the two of us because we actually had someone on this show that didn't necessarily line up with the way our views,
with what we were thinking,
which I like.
Which is what the point of that episode was to do
those type of people on the show. Now it sucked because it was so choppy,
right?
And we weren't able to have a fluent dialogue. We
didn't get to have a real conversation because of that.
But that's what we do, and that's really why we want people to leave comments to have a varying different opinion so that we can discuss those things,
right?
And see where we all stand. Get into that grayscale.
That's right.
And see where we all stand. So anyway, that was my take. From the first guest.
Yeah, which was like episode 3 or 4, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we were like 3 deep.
Yeah. That was. It would have been nice if that episode would have come out better. Yeah. Just because, like you said, it was really choppy. We didn't get to use any of it really for additional content or anything. It was kind of just a waste. But it was a fun episode to do.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be nice to have another guest on at some point that kind of has those same viewpoints, especially now with the election coming in a couple weeks. We might need to have a guest on that's like, we should have 2 guests on. We should have a diehard Trump supporter and a diehard Biden supporter on the show.
We need that. You just heard it right here first with Tim. If you supporting Trump this election, we need you on the episode. If you're supporting Biden, we want to do a double episode and have our own debate.
And I want to throw a caveat in there: a civil debate. It can get heated a little bit.
And Wayne got big security over here.
Right. We got guns in this house, just so you know.
Hey,
are they?
Hey, you get out of line. Wayne got them things, boy.
We got guns in this house, so y'all better watch out.
Hey, I've seen them. I've held them. He got them things.
But we should definitely do that. If you are a diehard one or the other supporter and you want to come on the show and not get rowdy,
right?
Essentially, just have a civil discourse.
Let's have a debate.
Let's have a civil
debate. I'm gonna throw a shout out there to my man Dan if he's listening.
Oh yeah, Dan watches. He comments on a lot of stuff.
I wouldn't mind having Dan on. I know my cousin reached out, who's another Army Reserve military guy who leans, towards the back to blue side of things.
Sure.
Which is, everybody has their opinions on whatever they want. Who's expressed interest in coming on the show. The only thing is our remote guest links. We haven't
figured
seen
that
if that's gonna
might be better now. We don't know.
So yeah. And I haven't really, in this area anyway, run into any hardcore Biden supporters.
You know what's interesting?
So
I actually see a lot more Biden signs and stuff around here.
Really?
Than I do.
I mean, you should come to Panama City.
Now, there's tons of Trump signs. I won't say a lot more. And it's maybe it's just that I notice the Biden ones and I don't notice the Trump ones. Maybe the Trump ones are so like out there
Yeah.
that I just have become numb to them.
Yeah.
And so when I see a Biden one, I'm like, oh look, a Biden sign,
Yeah. I was just telling Stevie, I was like, it's funny because during the last 2 elections, notice it type things, but I was like, when Obama ran, you've seen a lot of T-shirts and merchandise popping up, for Obama. And then when Trump ran, same thing. You saw a lot of T-shirts, merchandise popping up. And I'm like, now Biden's running, and I'm like, where's the merchandise?
Somebody that coloring book. Did you hear about the coloring book that caused the stink?
No.
So there was a Biden. It was an adult coloring book, and basically somebody took all these like drawings of muscular dudes and put Biden's face on them, and made an adult coloring book out of it. And one of them was like him getting out of the shower with a towel wrapped around, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all these people, obviously, all these Trump supporters, were up at arms about it because there was a coloring book with half-naked men in it and stuff, and they're marketing this coloring book. It's, a kid's coloring book, and it's like, but it's not a kid. But it's not a kid's coloring book. Yeah. It's an adult coloring book.
Yeah.
It's not even in the coloring book section of the store. It was in the adult books section of and it wasn't even sold on.
Who's buying this?
It wasn't sold in stores. It was only sold online. So you had to literally be looking for this thing to find it. You know what I mean? So, but people got super upset about it. But
I'm sure
it was really funny,
as always. So we throwing that out there to the listeners. Let's have a debate on the show before the election. If we can get that.
Yeah, we should do that. We should at least try to do it.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite entire episode of the first season? Like start to finish, favorite episode.
Man, Jack.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot. We did not write down any notes for this. There's no questionnaire online that we filled out beforehand. We are just winging it.
We are.
As we do.
It's what we do. Probably my favorite episode. I would have to say probably the episode we did with Jalen.
With Jalen?
Yeah. I would have to say that was my favorite. I
had a feeling that might be the case. It was a really good episode. Yeah, we should have Jalen back on the show.
It was a really good episode. I thought we had a great conversation. About what's happening now and things that we can do out here to play our part to do things better. So I thought that was a really good episode, which received a lot of good feedback.
It did.
It
also got some negative feedback.
Yeah, led to our first and only negative review.
Yeah, our first review, our only review,
dislike us,
and our first review was a negative review.
Yeah,
and boy, she tried to cause a stink, didn't she?
Oh my god!
But what was really funny?
Get all of you fired.
And just like we suspected, like when we talked about it, we were both like, if we just stop engaging with her, she'll go away. Yeah. And as soon as we stopped responding, she stopped commenting.
Yeah.
And she was just done. It was really funny. That was an interesting moment in time, though, because she was basically telling all of us that we were pedophiles.
Right.
Whether any of us have ever even looked at a young person or not.
Yeah.
We were all pedophiles.
It
was interesting. She tried to get pretty loud.
Yeah, to dive into the mind of someone like that.
Yeah.
Like that, just if you don't agree, it just associates you with the wrongdoing, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so since you say this is okay, you're guilty of it as well.
Right. And none of us even said it's okay.
Yeah. It's like you're just guilty by association. So
it's actually interesting that you bring that up because somebody on my Facebook, a girl I went to high school with, she posted a picture the other day. There's a house in Basin Bayou, Choctaw Beach area.
Yeah.
That has a big Biden Harris sign out front, right?
Yeah.
A big one, poles in the ground, the whole thing. And she took a picture of it while she was driving down the road and posted something to the effect of, who's the pedophile that lives in Choctaw Beach?
Yeah.
And it's just because someone has a sign up, doesn't make them a pedophile.
Right.
You can support Joe Biden as president. Like, I mean, if he's a pedophile, you probably shouldn't.
Right.
But like, if he's not,
You have to have more proof than hearsay.
Right.
mean,
and just because, even if he did that thing, even if he did a thing, and he is a pedophile, unless I have proof,
right?
Like, I don't know, so I can like that doesn't make a person a pedophile.
Right.
It was just really
again,
weird.
it just goes back to the whole, what happened to innocent before,
until proven guilty.
Until proven guilty, you get accused of something, and all of a sudden, the accusation makes you guilty. I'm like, no, we might as well just take the word accusation out of the dictionary.
Right.
Then, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just been accused of something. That doesn't mean you did it.
No, I mean,
hey, you stole a candy bar. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Where?
Right. Where is it? Yeah.
So it's people are nuts, man. So that was mine. What was your favorite
because
episode?
I can't pick the Jalen episode, obviously.
Sure you can.
No, I mean I can, but like I feel like I really enjoyed having Jalen on the show.
Yeah.
And I really liked that it caused some controversy. But I also really liked the Michael Beach episode.
That was a good episode.
I like having him on the show, and because he got into some he got going on some rants and stuff, and I was he was he was
preaching.
Yeah, he was preaching exactly. Yeah. He was preaching, so it was good. I liked that episode a lot. It didn't cause as much controversy.
No,
that's the
but it was a good episode.
But it was good.
Have to talk about some hip hop. I mean, something I'm familiar with. You're familiar with.
Yeah,
so
I've heard of this hip hop thing.
Good conversation.
I went and recorded some more stuff last week, actually.
I know the track sounding good, man.
Oh yeah, I posted some rough edits. Like that was just like no editing whatsoever. That was just like the instrumental track with my voice over the top. Like we didn't blend anything with nothing. So I actually have some better produced tracks of those same snippets. Yeah, better now.
That's what's up.
Because what I'm doing with that track, not to get completely off subject, is I had written like a little verse to like 3 different songs as like remixes, but I didn't finish them. I only wrote like the first verse kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is basically like blend the 3 instrumental tracks together and make it one song and call it a 3 mix.
That's going to be interesting.
You'll get to hear it one day. One of these days, November 21st, apparently, because we moved the October 31st show.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about that on the show.
I have to get that thing ironed out.
November 21st.
Yeah, for the 21st.
November 21st. Yeah, I'm going to have that. I'm going to have
right before Thanksgiving.
I'm going to have, that's the week before Thanksgiving. Yeah, we could do a turkey shoot.
Turkey shoot, man. Give away some turkeys.
That's right.
Families need to eat out here.
That's true. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, that was a good episode, man. Trying to think, man. We dropped a lot of jewels.
Yeah.
During that first season.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of them all.
I was actually thinking earlier. I'll let you think for a second because I actually thought of a moment that I really liked in the show from the first season. And it was when you were talking about on the Father's Day episode.
I was just thinking about
you were talking about the 10,000 hours.
Oh yeah.
And I've heard the 10,000 hours to master a thing a million times in my life. You know what I mean? Like I've been in sales before. I do a lot of reading on personal development and all of that sort of stuff. So I know this concept of 10,000 hours. But the way that you broke it down into days and actual hours spent with a person.
Oh yeah.
When you really break it down into you're only spending 3 or 4 hours a day with a person when even if you're living with them.
Right.
You're talking about you're at work for 8 hours, you're in the car for 2 or 3 hours every day or whatever. You're asleep for 8 hours. By the time you after dinner or whatever, you're not watching TV time, you know what I mean? Like whatever, you're really only learning about this person maximum 4 hours a day.
Right.
Which takes 10 years to get to that 10,000 hour mark.
Time.
Like that's crazy to think about, man. Like, so that was one of my favorite moments was like, I actually used that clip of you talking about 10,000 hours one Thursday as a Throwback Thursday video because I couldn't find anything in the episode that we did the week before to like post as a video, and I was like, oh, let's just do like a Throwback Thursday video. And so I reposted the 10,000 hours bit, and I was like, it was a really good one. Yeah. That was a good spot.
Yeah, well, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to say that your favorite part was a part.
No,
I was. You don't have to pump me up. It's fine.
On the Father's Day, talking about well, just when we were talking about it and just talking about change starts at home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the way you're treating each other at home, in the way you're bringing up your children at home.
Yep.
And sending them out to the world to deal with other people.
That's true.
So that was kind of one of mine, especially in these times. That everything just starts at home and treating people how you want to be treated. So
that's interesting. I was on the phone the other day with a buddy of mine. He called me because he was like, "Okay, like you have to talk to me about this whole Jo Jorgensen thing." Because he was like, "There's just some things." You're
wasting your phone.
He was like, "There's just some things." Well, no, he didn't say that, but he was just like, "There's just some things that that are like part of her platform that he didn't agree with."
Yeah.
And one of them was decriminalization of drugs, and the other one was opening the borders.
Let's talk about that.
And so, okay, we can, since I'm going to segue into it. But it started. I brought up in that conversation with him how it starts. Basically, it starts at home, right? Like he's like, well, what happens if we decriminalize drugs and now this neighbor of mine or whatever that's a heroin addict, puts needles in the trash and now there's needles on the ground outside in the neighborhood or whatever. My kids pick them up, and I'm like, that could happen now.
That could happen right now.
Like that, literally. If your neighbor's a heroin addict, it probably is happening.
Yeah.
Like,
you need to go check.
Like, go find out. And he's, but what if he's like on the porch doing his drugs, and like my kids see it, and I'm like, that is your problem.
Right.
Your job as a parent is to teach your kids right from wrong.
Right.
And tell them, like, what that person is doing isn't necessarily okay.
Exactly.
They're doing it, and it's not like the government's going to come down on them for it or anything like that, as long as they're not doing it and hurting someone.
Right.
But you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Because it's not okay. It's going to hurt your body. It's going to hurt your mind. All of that sort of stuff. So that's your job as the parent. It starts at home.
Right.
Like, that's what I explained to him, And
not to mention, your kid's gonna see it on some TV show,
some
YouTube channel. Like, they put it in movies all the time to teach those lessons. Like,
every time a Mac Miller dies, there's gonna be, every post for a week is gonna be about heroin addiction.
That point
or whatever.
you try to make makes no sense, but
continue. But no, like that was one of the things. One of the things we talked about was they were mostly drug related. But most of it went back to, like, it's your job to raise your kids. It's not the government's job to keep things away from your kids.
It's not.
It's your job to raise them right.
And it goes to the whole, the thing where when you keep something away from kids, it makes it enticing.
Right.
Now they want to know what it's about. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Don't get those cookies out the cookie jar. You leave the house. Kids in the cookie jar
every time.
So you can't.
That's how I got this big.
Into a certain age, sure you can keep certain things away, but it gets to a point where you need to know that, hell, when you were that age, it wasn't kept away from you.
Right.
I think about that. I'm like, we want to keep our kids from talking about sex and we've got a 5-year-old things like that. But then I'm like, well, at some point when I was 8 years old, I saw my first porno.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? You
right.
know what I'm saying? So it's like, you need to at some point come to the realization that whether it's in your control or
happens.
Not, like what Eminem say, are you two good parents all of a sudden forget who you were? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, life happens and you need to be prepared to
and Clarence parents have a real good marriage.
Yeah, you need to be prepared to explain to your children the ills that could befall them in this world. So anyway,
Yep.
That decriminalization of drugs, though,
Yeah.
should definitely happen.
Yeah.
Because
and I don't think it's just a flip a switch.
No. But you're getting drugs from the doctor anyway.
One of the things that people bring up a lot is, well, what if so and so starts doing heroin all the time, and then they don't have money to feed their kids? Well, that's called child neglect.
Right. That's a crime.
Which is a crime. Doing heroin or smoking marijuana or whatever isn't the crime. Child neglect is the crime. Or drinking alcohol isn't a crime.
Right.
Hitting someone in your car is a crime.
Alcoholics probably do more neglecting of their children than some of these other drug users.
Or beating people, abuse. All that physical and mental abuse.
Alcohol will drive you up a wall and cause you to do certain things.
Perfectly legal, I guess, whatever.
So, I mean, like you said, it's not flipping the switch, but I think it will ease up. And again, across the board, it will ease up some of the duties that our police have to deal with. That's
exactly right.
And they could be out here solving actual
real
violent crimes.
Yep.
Agreed. Victim crimes, not victimless
crimes with victims, because there's no such thing as a victimless crime.
Right.
If there is no victim, there is no crime.
Who am I hurting? You know what I'm saying? What is going on here?
And people bring up speeding, driving recklessly, things like that.
You could hurt somebody.
And there's a fine line, in my opinion. Again, it's not just a switch that you can turn off, right? Or turn on or whatever. But in my opinion, and this is probably way left field, but in my opinion, if I were to leave here and drive to Destin drunk, and I didn't hit anyone or cause anyone to swerve out of the way and run off the road or anything like that, I haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
The moment I endanger someone by, maybe I pull out in front of somebody and they have to swerve off the road and they crash, now I've committed a crime.
Exactly. And
I hit someone because I don't stop in time or whatever.
Right.
Now I've committed a crime. Yeah. If I get to my destination without hindering anyone or hurting anyone, I haven't done anything.
Right.
So,
and that's the truth. And I have a perfect example of that because I was leaving Destin.
Yeah.
Driving home and follow home for 2.5 miles.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah. You talked about that. The water, right? Yeah.
Pulled into my driveway.
Right.
Hadn't done anything. But the reason for confronting me in my driveway was that they received the call that I was doing some reckless driving.
Right.
But I made it home with harming no one.
Right.
So where's the crime here?
Right.
What's the beef here?
Precisely.
Leave me alone.
Those two cops could have very easily been doing something more productive.
Yeah, leave me alone. Do something. It's 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. We can't. We need to ease up the burdens on the police.
Right.
People need. Hey man, life is hard for some people out here, man. You get to living and you get out here trying to compete, trying to earn a living, and the government's taking a lot away in terms of being able to be self-sufficient.
Right.
I think the least they can do is let people get high if they want to.
Right.
I mean,
as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else.
As long as you ain't hurt nobody else. I mean, you won't let them grow their own food. Let them grow their own trees.
Yeah, you can't even collect rainwater in Florida.
You can't even collect rainwater for crying out loud.
That's ridiculous.
In California,
that's weird. Yeah.
So it's you got a
lot of states actually. Yeah.
You got a regulation on every damn thing.
That's right.
Everything's got to be paid for. At least you can do is if people want to get high and go into the dream world, let them go do what they want to do.
I agree.
Only the strong survive, man.
That's true too. Take the warning labels off the stuff and just let's see what happens.
Drink some bleach. No, I didn't mean that. That was sarcastic.
No, listen here, Donald Trump.
That was sarcastic.
Maybe if we just inject bleach, we can clear up the coronavirus or whatever. Look at this guy over here breaking all my equipment, man. Yeah.
Now you heard Trump say, he was saying that
sarcastically. I think he probably was.
He was, I think so.
But it's really funny to me, bringing that up. One thing that's really funny to me is...
I did break it.
You did. No, it just screws in there somehow. It'll be fine. There's another one. One of the things that's interesting to me is that Trump supporters talk an awful lot about how he says what he means. He says what he means.
Right.
That's their big argument. Like, he says what he means. And then when he says something that he doesn't mean, they're like, well, he didn't mean that.
He didn't mean that.
Like, well, then he doesn't say what he means.
Yeah.
So which one is it? Does he say what he means, or does he sometimes not say what he means?
I'm with Ice Cube. Ice Cube just came out.
I saw that video today.
He's like, I don't trust none of them.
Nobody.
None of them. And I agree. Like,
you really can't trust anybody. Like, I think anybody who's worked their way to the point where they are that high up in politics has had to have done something along the way.
Yeah.
Unethical. They had to.
Yeah. Shake hands. I mean, it's just.
They didn't have to, but they had to.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. People come out, Trump's a slum lord, and they say this and that, and then they post these clips about things Biden said in the 70s and 80s. I'm like, you can't get away from that.
No.
Like, you can't get away from that. You know what I'm saying? You said these things. Yeah, sure, times have changed now, but at the same token, during those times, people were still fighting for a change.
There's a movie.
It wasn't like it was 1910.
But it's on Netflix right now called The Trial of the Chicago 7.
I haven't seen it, but I want to see it.
I started watching it earlier before you showed up, and the only reason I actually started watching it was because it's written by Aaron Sorkin, and he's one of my favorite show writers.
You like Stevie with that. Like, I like shows and carrot, but I don't know they know the directors and everybody.
Aaron Sorkin wrote The West Wing.
Okay.
The Newsroom.
I like The West Wing. I haven't seen it.
There's a show called, what's one of the other ones that he did? Did you ever see the movie The Social Network about Facebook?
Yeah.
He wrote that movie.
Yeah.
So every movie and every show he's ever done is just really good.
Yeah. And
so that's why I started watching it, and it's really good. But it's really interesting because this is stuff that happened back during the Vietnam War.
Right. It looked modern though.
But it's the same stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the same things that we're dealing with today. Yeah. And it's like, nothing's changed, man. Like, people think that it's a different time, and it's not. It's like Dave Chappelle said at the end of his little stand up that he did after George Floyd.
Oh yeah,
they did at his house or whatever.
Yeah,
it's today.
Yeah,
it seems like it's a long time ago, but it's not. It's today, and he's right. Like, these things are happening right now.
Yeah,
it's today.
It's crazy.
It just is. It's wild, man.
Yeah. It's craziness. And that's what I say. It's the laws that take time to change. I mean, not the laws, because you can change the law overnight. It's the mind.
Mind, yeah.
The mind and the attitude that people have towards things.
Right.
You could change a law.
Sure.
Like that. They could go in the room right now tonight and decriminalize drugs.
Here's a great example of that in recent history is segregation.
Yeah.
Right? A switch went off.
You got to let everybody in the school.
You got to let everybody in the schools. You got to let everybody sit at the same counter.
Yeah.
But the mind didn't change.
The mind didn't change.
Just because the government said, now we're going to start integrating kids into the same schools. Yeah. You have to let people drink from the same water fountains. Right. All this kind of stuff doesn't mean that people were okay with
it. Yeah.
The minds didn't just flip like that.
No.
The rules did. And the people that uphold the rules have minds.
Right.
And they're going to uphold the rules in the way that they think.
Right.
Not the way that the law is written necessarily. Right. Which is the problem with judges and stuff in this country and people not getting sentenced the same way, right? Like there's got to be a situation, there's got to be a problem in the mind that causes the same judge to convict people of the similar crime completely different. It's got to be.
I actually dealt with one of those judges.
Did you?
Who was disbarred from his seat a few years ago in Illinois.
The judge in this movie is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know how close it is to the truth.
Yeah.
But knowing Aaron Sorkin and
Probably
the way that he writes,
close.
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Now he does lean a little bit left, I think, in some of his writing, so he could be spinning it a little bit. But it's called the Trial of the Chicago 7, but there are actually 8 people on trial. It's 7 white guys and a black guy.
Right.
Well, the black guy, and if you watch the movie, you'll see, but like the black guy is like trying to remove himself because he doesn't want to be part of this same group of people. He's like, I'm not part of them. I wasn't there with them. I don't know, whatever. Right. But the judge is like not hearing it.
Yeah.
So the black guy's lawyer is in the hospital. He got sick. So his lawyer's not even there in the courtroom. And the black guy keeps being like, my lawyer's not here. Like, we should not be starting this case because I don't have proper representation.
Yeah.
And the judge is just like, not hearing it, dude.
I dealt with one of those, boy.
It might be the same guy. It's in Chicago.
I dealt with one of those.
But the guy seems pretty old already. He probably wasn't still a judge when you were dealing with stuff. But yeah, it was like, he's like,
man.
The guy gets up. They finally get the black guy's case mistrialed because, like, they end up taking him in the room and beating him, and then putting a sock in his mouth and putting a thing around him and bringing him back so he can't talk.
Yeah.
And then they're only asking him yes or no questions, and you know what I mean, so he can do this. And the prosecuting attorney is like, you need to just call this a mystery. He's like, you have a man in here gagged in an American courtroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Terrible.
Yeah. It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anything that extreme could happen today, like beaten and gagged and that sort of thing. But I don't know because I'm not there.
Right.
But most high-profile cases, at least anymore, are on TV and you know that kind of thing. So, like this case today would be on national news, so it would be harder to do that sort of thing, or it would cause a lot of problems if you did.
No, for real.
But yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Like to think about, what the Vietnam War was in the 60s. So that's,
it's not that long ago.
It's 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you think about it that way, it's like 55 years ago, whatever. Let's call it 55 years. Like 55 years is a pretty good long time.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's a little bit longer than Biden's been in.
Only a few more years than Biden's been in office or been in politics in Washington. Things that should have changed since then happened.
Right.
Right. I guess that's the best way.
And that's just laws that should have changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's again, the mind is something else, but laws that should have changed. It's just a slow trek.
And you can't change you can change people's minds, but you can't just flip the switch.
No. But for people that
these people
claim
that are
to
out
be
here,
law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
That is what the law is for. When they say we want law and order, well, when you change the laws, it automatically triggers and starts switching their mind.
Right.
And the law has to be that way for almost as much time as the law wasn't that way. You know what I mean? Right. So even if you say something as simple as a seatbelt law, when they first brought out the seatbelt law, people were still, F this seatbelt.
Well, and also, like in that particular case, this plays true in most cases. Is when they started saying, "Oh, well, we have to start putting seatbelts in cars."
Yeah,
there were still all these cars that didn't have
seatbelts.
So
yeah,
what do you do in that case?
Yeah.
Do you write ticket? Does everyone have to go buy a new car?
Right.
So you could play that out.
Right, and they almost afforded you time until those cars were out until they really start enforcing it.
Right.
Because really, you end up with that situation. You end up with a situation where it's really a lot of poor people being ticketed when they can't afford the ticket anyway because they can't afford to go get a new car. So it's, when you look at things like that, again, when we're talking about keeping people down and really watching out what type of laws are being put out there and for what reason.
Yeah.
If you look at the seatbelt law that way, you know what I'm saying? Even the insurance law. Because I don't know how, has it always been a requirement to carry car insurance? I doubt it.
So I don't know. And I know that's a state thing, not a federal thing. But I can't imagine that it has. And for me, insurance is an interesting thing. I'm anti-insurance. I don't think you should be required to carry insurance unless if I go out and buy a brand new car and I use the bank's money to do it, the bank has the right to tell me I have to insure that car.
Right.
The state does not have the right to tell me.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right, because it's the bank's money.
Insure that car. Yeah, it's the bank's money. It's their car.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing. Somebody brought this.
And that's why I feel like the government bails out these companies because they're in cahoots to say, well, if you go along with enforcing insurance and things like that via the law, and back us in this. So if something goes wrong, these companies start failing. Now all of a sudden the government's coming in with billions of dollars.
The government should never bail out private companies.
If Fresh Prince goes under, is the government coming to bail out yo Fresh Prince?
Here's the thing about government bailout of let's call it when they bailed out GM. They bailed out the car companies, right?
GM, if you suck, you're going under.
Dude, that's it.
And somebody else is starting up a car company.
If you were mismanaging the money that you were making, giving you money isn't going to change that. You're still going to mismanage that money too.
It makes no sense.
It's the same thing when people win the lottery and then don't have any money.
Exactly.
That's exactly the same scenario. Winning the lottery doesn't make you a millionaire.
Yeah.
The mindset makes you. If you're not good at running a company, forcing a bunch of money into it isn't going to fix it.
No, and I think this pandemic has been the perfect example of that. All these companies that got bailed out, but now these small businesses who have been forced to close for circumstances not of their own doing, not because they mismanaged their money. The government had still having a hard time even finding money to bail out small businesses, which employ over half of America. Think about that.
Right.
They spent all that money to bail out these big companies, but don't have any money.
Don't have any left.
To save these small businesses that employ all these Americans.
Because the government mismanaged the money too. See, money was allotted for all of these, you go back to the 2008 bank crisis, right?
Yeah.
There was money allotted in those, but the big banks got the money first and there wasn't any left for the small banks.
Right.
There was money for them in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it didn't make it to them because the government mismanaged it.
Right.
Same thing in this case. There was money for everyone in those stimulus package.
Ruth, Chris,
but the big companies got theirs first, right? And then there's not any left for the little guy, even though there was supposed to be some for everyone.
Right.
It's just mismanaged, and if the government's that bad at these things,
they don't need to be managing.
They don't need to be doing stuff.
Then we go back to taxes. They want to take all these taxes, and I keep telling people I don't need you spending my money. You don't even know what you're doing.
No idea.
Everybody in damn politics got a private plane. What you got private plane for? Your ass can fly commercial. You supposed to be out here working for the people.
Right.
What you scared of?
Yep.
You should be able to get. You ain't no superstar, rock star, celebrity. Get your ass in commercial.
That's right. You better be flying in the back too.
You can even fly business class if you want to, but
buy your own ticket.
Yeah, what you need to be flying private for. Yep. You work for the people.
It's interesting that you brought up small businesses losing out in this time of COVID. And I'm not tooting my own horn or anything here, but I've seen nothing but blessings through this whole thing.
Yeah.
My business has grown I moved into a new shop. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've expanded. I've brought on part-time. Like, you know what I mean? So like, it almost makes me wonder if in the beginning of this, the people with the defeatist mindset are the ones losing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, for you,
now you
didn't have to close your doors. You know what I mean? Because you can still print. You can still get your
right.
out to people.
I also wasn't forced to close. Right. That's true. So there are those cases. Obviously, there are cases where like gyms were forced to close.
Right.
Restaurants were forced to close. Like I get that. So like if you didn't have that buffer,
right,
then you were screwed. But April was actually my worst month ever since I started the business, basically. And that's because basically everyone closed. Yeah. I think I did like $1,200 in sales or something. But I had enough. I was able to continue the business. So like I said, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but like just because there was a pandemic doesn't mean that everyone had to throw in the towel.
No, a lot of people made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Biden
no, I'm not making a lot of money. Don't get twisted.
Well, I'm not. Biden said all the billionaires made another $300 billion. I'm like, right. Damn. I mean,
but what's interesting about that is people are stuck at home.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're buying all their stuff on Amazon. It's interesting. If you have a problem with billionaires, you should stop buying from billionaires.
Right. That's true.
Don't give them your money.
Yeah. Don't give me wrong. I don't have a problem with billionaires.
If you have a problem with Jeff Bezos being a billionaire, stop buying from Amazon. Don't go to Whole Foods. Don't do anything Amazon related.
Yeah.
And tell all your friends to do the same. Advocate for it.
Which is, that's what I think the deregulating of a lot of industries that DeSantis passed was a good thing.
Right.
Which should allow people to do more entrepreneurship and be able to sell their stuff without necessarily having to have a license.
Shouldn't have to have a license to
renew your license or do all this other crazy
licenses is just another form of taxation.
Hair. Yeah, you got to have a license to do hair. Like, look, people knew how to braid hair.
Right.
They knew how to style hair, design hair. I got relatives that still know how to do it. Now you telling me they got to go to a school to get a license to do some shit they've been doing since they were 15.
Right. Here's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's the thing. People that are in that industry, especially the hair, stylist hair industry, because I had this conversation with somebody on Facebook not too long ago. They are advocates for the licensing because it ensures that the person knows not just how to cut hair, but like proper cleaning techniques and those sorts of things, right? Which I get. But here's the thing. If I go to the barbershop and I get lice because they didn't clean the comb from the last guy and he had lice, right? Yeah. And then you come in behind me and you get a fade and you catch some lice because they got on the clippers when he was clipping me up and now he's clipping you up. And now you catch, we're not going back there.
Right.
And he's going to go out of business.
Exactly. Word of mouth is going to spread really fast.
I mean, you don't have to have a license to like stay in business.
Right. Because 9 times out of 10, nothing that gets done to your hair, even catching life, is going to be like life. Right. Like, you'll be able to overcome that.
Right. So we don't need a license for cutting hair.
No.
If you're not good at it or you're doing something wrong, the market's going to win. The market's going to shut you down. The government doesn't have to be part of this.
Exactly.
Like that's just Anyway,
it's.
So this was something I wanted to bring up since you mentioned insurance earlier, and we have 1 minute left, but we might go like 5 extra minutes. When you get insurance on your car, or when you get car insurance, we'll call it car insurance. Who or what are they insuring?
When you get car insurance?
Correct.
Where it says they're insuring the driver and the vehicle.
Okay.
And if you have, total coverage, you should be insuring if you damage somebody else's vehicle and that person as well.
So This was an interesting thing.
There's several,
a friend of mine
different.
just had to like switch up their insurance or something, and this was the conversation.
This is a good one for my boy Edwin. I hope he watches this.
Yeah, he owns his own. Okay,
he owns his own.
Maybe he can help us out. Then
agency.
we'll tag him in this and see if he can help us out. So, when this was a problem that a buddy of mine had, he was on the phone with the insurance agency. He's trying to get insurance on him and his family or whatever, right? So if you go to call the insurance company and you want to insure your car that's outside, they ask you, are there going to be any additional drivers?
Right.
Okay. Well, that would lead you to believe that they're not insuring the vehicle, they're insuring the driver.
Right.
So if you're driving somebody else's car, you should still be insured.
You should.
But you're not. Because you're not an additional driver on that other car.
Right.
So technically, they're not insuring you or the car. They're insuring the package.
Right.
They're insuring the car if you're the one driving it. And you if you're driving that car.
Right.
No other scenario is insured under your insurance.
Right. Because the bank already insures, like my bank anyway, through Gap Insurance.
Right.
Insurance.
Because you got Gap on your loan.
Right. Insures the car.
That's if you
get into an accident.
If you get into an accident and the damage is worth more than the car,
Gap Insurance will cover.
Pays the rest of it.
The rest. So to me, that's like the car being insured. The car in itself. The Gap is for the car.
Right.
So if anything happens to this vehicle, Gap Insurance takes care of that. But it doesn't take care. I guess, and that's in. It
doesn't have anything to do with.
That's in a total situation. Like if the car gets totaled, though, I don't think. But if I like got into an accident and needed to go take my car to the car shop, then no insurance comes into play. But here's the other interesting thing that I found is that, like, say, for example, when I went to the dentist, when I went to the dentist with insurance. They did all this extra stuff. So
because they're going to get a check for it.
Right, because I was only paying $30, but they could charge my insurance company however much money they wanted to charge my insurance company. So to get one of my teeth pulled one time, like they had to, shoot me. Then he had to drill.
Get the anesthetic, and then
so now he had to use all these other tools that he had to put on the charge list. So it was like $500 something to get the tooth pulled. But when I hadn't been to the dentist in like 15 years. So the next year I opted out of dental coverage because I'm like, I already had dental problems last year. I'm gonna just save my little money, which is stupid. It cost me like
I don't have dental insurance.
It cost me like $2. Right. You know what I mean? A month
through work or whatever.
So I didn't sign up 2 months after the closing period from work. I have a tooth issue and need to go get my tooth pulled. But since I didn't have insurance and paid straight cash, first of all, the first time I went, I was in the chair for like 45 minutes to an hour. You know what I'm saying? All types of shit. Without insurance, $300 straight cash, charged my card. He pulled my tooth in 5 minutes. I looked up, I said, that's it. He said, yep, he pulled it out whole.
Yeah.
I said, that's it, doc? He said, yeah. I'm like,
bite down on this gauze.
It was the same type of tooth.
Isn't that crazy?
Straight cash, didn't waste no time, and it was a cheaper process. You understand?
And that equates to all healthcare issues. It's interesting that people don't get that. When you go to the doctor, to the emergency room or whatever, if you have insurance, they're going to give you some pain pills when you leave.
They're going to make you sit there for 45 minutes.
They're going to give you some. If you hurt your ankle, they're going to put some crutches on the bill and a
whether
boot.
You need it or not.
They're going to X-ray it twice. You know what I mean? Yeah. All this stuff and charge this insurance company when really all you needed was one pain pill.
Look, I don't care how people feel about it, but I had to take my son to a checkup appointment. And, my wife's like, the appointment's at 11:30. I'm like, cool. So we get there like 11:20, and we sign in and whatnot. And we sitting down waiting. Then they was like, "Oh, Mr. Walker, you know, you guys are gonna go back to the other room." We were in the main waiting room. They sent us back to another waiting room. Now at this point, it's like 11:50, so it's like 20 minutes past the time we were supposed our appointment time. So then the doctor walks out. You know, it's just me and my kids in the room. She's like, "Oh, these are yours, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, bitch." It's like, "Oh, I'm looking for another dad." And anyway, walks another guy back, and then you know the doc comes, and so now I'm pissed off because she done asked me a stupid question,
right?
You know, so then she comes back out in the hallway again at like 12:15. I'm like, "Hey, doc, hey, our appointment was at 11:30. Like, time is money. My wife told me 11:30. She's like, "Oh, what time? It's 12:15. We're doing good today." I said, "Good."
Yeah, you're 45 minutes behind.
45. I got things to do today. So anyway, now I'm frustrated and pissed off because she's talking goofy, asking me dumb questions. You know what I'm saying? So we now they finally call us back at like 12:25. It's like fucking an hour after we supposed to even show up here. You think I got an hour to waste in your office, lady?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just think I'm just sitting at home doing shit? So
that's exactly
So we get in there and you know she's talking this and talking that, and then she checks his vitals because we just want to get his allergy medicine renewed. We don't even need to show up for this. Just give us the prescription.
Yeah, you know he has allergies.
Yeah. Looking in his ears like, "Oh, has he been coughing lately? It's fucking allergy season." Yeah, he's been coughing a little bit.
He stays coughing.
You know, oh, that ear is really red. He might have an ear infection. We need to put him on antibiotics. So he hasn't said anything about his ear.
Yeah.
Well, we could just try giving him an extra dose of allergy medicine, and he could take Claritin and Leveret. So we went from antibiotics to him taking 2 different allergy medicines to clear up his ear infection. I'm like, whatever, lady.
He might not even have.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, lady. Prescribe it. I like to see him back here in a week. Sure. No, we're not fucking.
No, we're not coming back here.
Like, you're wasting my time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just give me a proper diagnosis. Give me my allergy pills and let me go.
Yep.
I ain't got time for this, and I'm not finna be doping my kids up. Like, he hasn't complained about anything.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about? Listen, when he starts saying, "Hey, daddy, my ear hurt," we'll deal with that.
Right.
But you're not finna tell me. I said, can you show me an x-ray of his ear or something? Like, no, it's red. Let me look through the damn ear.
Yeah, give me that stupid thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
give me that light.
No,
bro.
you wasting my time, and now you want to look like you diagnosing me for more pills. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doping my
I don't
kids
like doctors either.
But anyway.
I like doctors or the government. Write it down.
Graduated with a D. You know what I'm saying? Barely passing.
Yeah.
Like,
she copied off somebody else's test.
Think I'm stupid, lady. Like, get your ass out of
here.
So anyway, that's my rant for the day.
I'm glad you did that. They try to, like, it's your kid used to taking pills at 5.
Yeah, like, you know.
So he can prescribe him pills later and he won't even think twice about it.
He won't even think twice about it. Like, are you people nuts? Like, I'm a test. Like, I don't like to brag about not having to go to the doctor, but
I don't go to the doctor.
I don't have to go to the doctor.
I don't either.
You know, if something's really ailing, I give it a little bit of time. I try to work on it, do whatever. You know, I don't pop Tylenols or etc.
I don't even take Tylenol.
For people that probably started doing that when they were teenagers, it probably affected them.
Yeah.
You know, because their parents was like, "Oh, you got a headache? Here, take one of these."
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it probably affected them and caused them problems later on in life. And now they just can't get off the shit.
Yep.
They having random headaches and random this and random that. But you watch the commercials and they say, may cause side effects of kidney failure.
That's right.
May cause excessive diarrhea. And you don't know what the hell going on, but you keep popping the pills.
I feel like my headache is not like, I'd rather have a headache than excessive diarrhea.
Yeah, you just keep.
I'm just gonna let you know.
Yeah. Don't get a body no time to do what the body naturally is supposed to do, and that's a lack of faith in the man above.
Yeah, the human body is an amazing machine.
Amazing machine,
and it has this ability to fix itself.
Wolverine's out here.
Yeah.
That's why Wolverine was always my favorite X-Men character.
Now, it clearly can't fix everything.
Well,
but
deep stab wound like that, you might have to get some stitches.
You get stabbed up.
One of them saber-toothed tiger claws.
But,
You're gonna need some stitches.
There's plenty of stuff that the body does that doesn't require drugs.
But that's how they get you, though. They get you with your kids, how you all nervous about some shit finna happen to your kids.
Right.
And now you like, oh my God, I gotta do it because the doctor said so. Hey man, I don't get no hell what type of degree of paperwork you got.
Yep.
You can't tell me nothing that don't fit right with my soul.
Right.
You can, they told me my son got asthma. I took his ass from the doctor's office and took him on a 1 mile run. He ain't asked for an inhaler not one time, nor did he start breathing.
Right.
I'm like, shit, asthma? This motherfucker ready to run a marathon. Like, you got.
That's interesting too. Like,
he has had some congestion and mucus,
yeah.
but I'm like, asthma. It might be some sort of extra cold, but goddamn, he can run a mile.
Right.
He only 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Boy,
man.
we're about to go run this thing.
I ain't even have his inhaler, so I probably was taking the chance. But hey,
Might not make it
God
back.
told Abraham to take him up on the mountain.
Right.
Shit, if he survived, you with me.
That's right.
You know, like you got to prove to me, shit. We got to do a exercise test for you to show me my kid got
That's
asthma.
funny.
What you talking about?
I agree.
These people.
Well, my dad
man.
wouldn't have. Yeah, my dad never took us to the doctor. Man,
Man.
we had to be dying.
I'm telling
Like,
you,
for real.
Like,
Wasn't even a
they'll tell
thing.
you anything.
Wasn't even a thought. Like, just wasn't even.
When the
wasn't
medical
even a thought.
field is run to drive up your dollar amount, it'll tell you anything. We need to go back to house physicians, come check on you at the house, really want to take care of you.
Yeah.
You know, these doctors got building bills to pay for and shit.
Yeah.
They got to keep the lights on. You know, go
Well,
back
now
to
there's a lot
certain
of
people at their house, man.
like clinics now that are run by nurse practitioners instead of doctors.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a way better way. If you just need to go get like a checkup,
Yeah, man.
it's like $75. Go get a checkup. You're out the door. They're not no frills. You know what I mean? Just like go in. They just make sure you're breathing and they get you back out of there. You
Ain't
know?
nobody got time. And don't get me wrong, you find some good doctors out there that ain't trying to bullshit you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't trying to do all this funny business, waste your time.
Yeah.
And then you got those out there that's just swindling the system.
Writing those prescriptions.
Writing them prescriptions.
Get paid.
You worried about your next door neighbor doing heroin and shit. Buddy over there on Oxycontin.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what I'm
is
saying? Popping the heroin.
Yep. Legal heroin.
So man, Jack, it's a lot going on out here in the world that needs some fixings.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
so
I'm excited about season 2. I think we're
Yes,
off to a
sir.
good start already.
yes, sir. Kicking it off for the good time. Too.
We obviously you guys know we moved the show to Fridays.
yes, sir.
We're kicking around the idea for some merch.
Oh yeah.
So we'll have news on that probably next week.
Some grayscale merchandise.
Yep. Merchandising. As the man Mel Brooks would say.
I love it.
Merchandising. What else, man? Any last thoughts?
And I have nothing else. I think the people have been very gracious in lending us their ear tonight, giving us some of their time. I'm all ranted out, man. I'm probably gonna
Yeah, you did a good one at the
Talking
LA.
to
You ranting.
wife gonna be like, don't be using our kids as no motherfucking tip. No.
Oh, you're ranting.
So no, I'm done, man. I appreciate y'all as always. Thank you for listening. Rep God. The man upstairs, Yahweh is the truth. I have nothing more to him.
It's Yahweh or no way. Yeah, man, I agreed. I don't have any crazy last words either. Be on the lookout for that merch. Like and share the page. Like us on all the socials. Follow us on your favorite platform,
Yes,
podcast
sir.
platform. Listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast. Help some brothers out. on.
I've got all weekend now to get videos and stuff ready for the week. I have no excuses. So there should be videos and stuff going out every day.
Word is bond.
For sure. So, and my computer works now
Yes.
after $500 worth of fixing,
I love it.
basically.
Tim rolling in the dough.
Well, not anymore. I just spent it all on a stupid computer.
Oh, God, man.
You want $5? I got $5. I actually don't have $5. I do have some cash, but none of them are $5. yeah, man, that's it. I guess we're grayscale is